That Just Happened is the name of the show. We're talking about the bear pretty exclusively. We're going to talk about righteous gemstones as well, but that's really about it. So yeah, here we go. Yeah, let's do gemstones. Get that out of the way first. Gemstones happened. I still feel really weird watching this show. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just Danny McBride's comedy doesn't do a whole lot for me. Which is weird to say because I feel like Danny McBride is almost like an updated version of Kevin Smith, and I love Kevin Smith stuff, so why wouldn't I like Danny McBride? But I mean, it's kind of, I can take it or leave it, and I keep wanting to really like Gemstones, but I just only kind of passively like Gemstones. Like, we watch it every week when it comes out, but it's kind of as part of our watch schedule, not necessarily because we feel like we have to, if that makes sense. But my free time this week was taken up by two things pretty exclusively. Mortal Kombat 1 stress test, which we've already discussed during the live streams, so that's not really going to be part of That Just Happened this week, even though that really just happened. Wow, I had a whole lot of fun with that. And the other thing was The Bear. The Bear launched this week. I watched the entirety of season 2, and I want more. There is a third season. It is going to be happening next June. So June of 24, we will see a third season with Carmi and crew. Oh man. So, all right. So season 1 of The Bear is effectively what my career in food has been to a large degree. I didn't go to culinary school and I didn't work at the French Laundry, but I have learned an incredible amount about food in the 20 plus years I've been working in this industry, and I have worked in every level of kitchen, almost every level of kitchen. I've never done 5 stars, I've never done a Michelin star restaurant, but basically everything up to that point I have done, and I feel like done fairly well. That being said, the experience of that restaurant, just the existence of this fake restaurant for the show, that is effectively what the last 20 years of my life has been, is to a certain degree that. And it was that's a big part of the reason why I connected with it and why I felt like I finally felt respected by people who are trying to entertain with different the Hollywood types who were trying to entertain other people who didn't understand this community. I feel like they finally understand the community enough to relay it to other people who aren't part of the culinary community. Season 2, I think, is what the food community, the culinary community should be striving to be, because just all right, so that restaurant in the real world would not have been able to send half of their staff to culinary school and for a stage, and where the hell did they send Richie? That he also did a stage. It's not super feasible. Usually if you're going for a stage like that, you're going on your own dime. You're going because you really want to learn under this chef, and that's why you're going for that stage. I have been party to other chefs sending stages to my restaurants previously and showing them how things happen. But it was a singular person at a time. It wasn't half of the staff getting sent away to learn something. It was one person. Usually the person who was going to become the sous chef is the one who would be sent out for the stage. Otherwise, again, you're going on a stage on your own dime. Many of the chefs I've worked for have done stages just because they couldn't help themselves. They worked a day job and then went and did a stage at night so that they could get that education. And the day job paid the bills and the stage was what taught them, or vice versa. They would go to their day job at night and then the stage was in the morning. And one chef even did this overseas in France, and there's a lot of very interesting stories there. So that seemed a little bit unrealistic to me, but it's very idealistic, because that I wish this community, the culinary side of our workforce was respected enough that they were paid that well, that the restaurant that is at that level could do such things, because the people would want to be in the culinary field again. Like, it wouldn't just be a paycheck for kids who were just wasting time until they went into their real field. Which is by and large a lot of the people that work in culinary, at least in my experience, is you got a lot of kids fresh out of high school, you got the long timers who really love doing food, and then a fair amount of it is just people who are there because they couldn't get a job anywhere else, and they're still kind of looking for a job somewhere else. But like it seems like they got lucky to be a restaurant at the level at which they were. And they have so many people who care about food and who care about the artistry of food to stick around and do these things. Because I've worked with plenty of cats over the years who, if you said, you know what, for the next 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is that they sent Tina out to culinary school, and Tina and Ekba, I think was the guy's name. You're not gonna work at the restaurant. You're just gonna go to culinary school. I know a handful of guys right now who would laugh at you and walk out. So like, it's a beautiful thing that these people care enough to want to do this stuff. What's his name? Marcus, that goes to the Netherlands. Oh man, I literally just watched it like 2 days ago, finished, and I'm brain farting where it was. But he went somewhere Slavic and learned just baking, just some of the beautiful stuff that he was making just made me look so hungry. I've worked with 2 bakers in 20 plus years. I've worked with 2 bakers who would have killed for an opportunity like that. I've worked with quite a bit more than 2 bakers in the last 20 years. And the rest of them, again, just picking up a paycheck because they kind of understand how baking works. And so like this is an idealized version of the culinary world. And I super wish that more people cared about the presentation of their food and the understanding of what makes their food their food. And it was beautiful. It was, I got emotional basically in every episode. It was kind of crying the entire time. And I want that kind of respect for real. I want people to understand that their food comes from someone who enjoys entertaining in this way, enjoys art in this way, and have that appreciation. It was just wonderful. I can't say enough great stuff about season 2 of The Bear. That's not to say that it was easy to watch. Much like the first season, the last 2-3 episodes get pretty rough, especially for somebody who's been working in this industry for as long as I have. There's a whole lot about that just makes you kind of cringe, and because you've been there, you've been in that situation, you've been to the point where the ticket printer's been going for so long that when it stops, you don't realize it has stopped because it just is a noise that is in your head constantly, whether or not the actual thing is happening. Or locked the locked himself in the walk-in situation also is a little unrealistic. I mean, I have definitely had walk-ins that are old enough that they don't have a mechanism on the inside for you to get out should you accidentally lock yourself in. But I would say those are very much the exception these days. I haven't worked in an exceptionally large city. Denver's not all that big, and that's about as close as I got. So that is to say that, you know, possibly there are a lot more of these older walk-in coolers than I am giving it credit for. But yeah, just not as realistic as a lot of the other stuff in the series, but just brilliant television. The acting is fantastic. The writing is pretty spot on, like 98% of the time. And just, go watch The Bear. This is one of the best shows ever on television. Just absolutely fantastic. Oh, but I think that's all we got for That Just Happened this week, nerds. So thank you very much for joining me. We will see you next time. As far as going forward, I really have no plans for what is going to happen this week. No music. There might be a movie on the horizon that we're going to see. I'm drawing a blank currently because I don't have notes for it, but I'm sure more shows, whatever is launching this week, we will dabble in that. And what happened for you nerds this week? Let's talk about that down in the comments section, because this is supposed to be a back and forth, a conversation, if you will. This is how we talk about the things that have come out and we finally got to interact with them. So yeah, definitely let's have that conversation down in the comments, and maybe we'll continue that conversation over on the shout out show on the second channel, on the Clips channel. Thank you very much, nerds. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here, and that just happened.
I can't believe that just fucking happened. Is it dead?